right. This is Erin Gantz at Art All Nights, Saturday, September 13th. Do I have permission to record this interview?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Could you tell me your name?
Amaya Lewis.
Perfect. So I know you said you're from New York.
Yeah.
Okay, and you moved to DC?
Mm-hmm.
And then, can you tell me about, like, first coming to DC?
Yeah, so before moving to DC originally, I had come back a few times because I have a godmother that lives out here. So I've been here a few times before, but I've never actually indulged in DC until I came to Howard University. And from then, I've just grown into just growing my roots into DC and just, like, experiencing DC, and I've really come to love it. I really like it a little bit better than DC, than New York, because it's, like, a little slower for me. Yeah, and I mean, I like the Shaw area as well. I've moved around. I moved to I moved over by Noma, and for a while, and I didn't like it that much. But now that I like Shaw because it's, like, very close to Howard and, like, the culture of Shaw.
Okay, well, like, what do you like specifically about Shaw, and, like, can you tell me about like, I guess, students' relationship with Shaw? Like,
Yeah.
It's like your college town. Almost.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of the stuff is very, like, college oriented. I feel like the community is always around. My favorite things are usually U Street, like just being around U Street. When I was in, like, freshman year and I couldn't even get in the clubs, I would just walk around U Street just to just be around and just, like, walk around and just see things. My favorite place to go to, probably Banneker. I would stay at Banneker for, like, hours, like, in the middle of the night, just with friends, just hanging out, because we just didn't want to go back to our rooms. But, like, that was probably, like, our peak, like, freshman, sophomore year, especially around the times where Howard wasn't really the best place to be, like, especially my dorm, because we had a few living situations. But being at Banneker was definitely, like, the peak of, like, what we were doing our freshman year.
Have you, like, are you familiar with any other neighborhoods in DC? I guess what makes Shaw stand out to you compared to neighborhoods?
It just reminds me so much of home. So originally I'm from Staten Island, which is not as fast as, like, Manhattan and the Brooklyn and Bronx. It's kind of like that rural. So Shaw reminds me so much of, like, okay, that rural, easygoing, but it still has a little bit of that city feel to it. Like, you still, like, I love coming to Georgia. Like, the corner of Georgia Avenue Street is honestly, like, it's like home to me. Seeing the people on the corners and everything, like, if I don't see them, I'm like, guys, where are we and what's going on? And I feel like a lot of stuff that's happening in DC kind of messed that up a little bit, because it's like, okay, not the people that I see outside are not always outside. And it kind of messes it up, because I'm like, I like it here, and I don't want to have to leave here for my safety, which is annoying, but I know if I have to, I would. But it's like DC's kind of messed up because of it. And it's annoying. It's really, like, frustrating to see, like, this is some place that I literally low-key grew up, like, learning to love. But now with the FBI and Homeland Security and stuff going on like that, there's just too many things going on that's, like, messing up communities in small ways. But when you put all those small things together, it makes a big difference. It's like, guys, we need to talk about this. We need to address the fact that DC was fine beforehand. As much as there is crime, there's crime everywhere. It's gonna happen. But, like, to go out of our ways to bring extra people and extra enforcement, it brings fear to a lot of people. Does it bring fear to me? No, because, I mean, I've lived in New York, where there's, I mean, what am I, fear of DC? No, not really. But, like, the Homeland Security and the people, and watching on social media and just seeing all the stuff that's going on, and seeing, I saw a 12-year-old get arrested and harassed by Homeland Security at Gallery Place, Chinatown, on social media. But still, a child, that's insane. As much as these children, like, I wouldn't even want my child to have to go outside with the fear of being like, I can get on the train and get harassed. I used to take the metro when I was in high school, and to go outside and have to fear for my life, and I'm only 12 years old. I can't even be with my parents. I'm being interviewed and harassed by people. That's terrifying. And it infuriates me, because these are kids that you're harassing, let alone the adults that were harassing and the homeless people. Children, is where I've like drawn the line, because especially Howard students, we have a middle school over at Howard, and these kids, they're always walking around, as much as they're a little annoying, but I mean they're middle schoolers, but like to think about like if FBI and like Homeland Security was on Georgia Ave and just patrolling the area, and you have these middle schoolers out there. Me as a college student, yeah, I may know a little bit more about how to handle everything, and also being here, I've been able to get information on like how to handle myself. But a middle schooler, how are they supposed to react without fear? And especially because a lot of the population in DC is black, these kids are already targeted because of the fact that their skin is brown. Is insane.
Do you think that Howard has responded well to the administration?
So I'm not currently at Howard anymore, but...
Have you graduated?
No, I transferred. Yeah, I transferred. So now I'm going to Delaware State University. Yeah, it's a different HBCU, but we're working it out right now. But Howard, politically, I feel like they have their own situations going on right now, that they can't even face the fact that everything that's going on publicly, because I was also affected by the financial issues that they were having. I owe $5,000 still to the school. We're working it out. We're moving on from that. But like, they have so many issues within Howard themselves that it's like they can't worry so much about what's going on publicly, besides just being like, make sure you keep your ID on you and keep your stuff on you. They have sent out emails. I know for a fact they would send out an email and be like, hey, this is what you can do to keep yourself safe. But it's not like we're going to get more security. We're going to have the blue, like, I don't know if you see on campus, the blue emergency lights. We don't have those on our campus anywhere. And that it's scary, because it's like, okay, yes, our campus is small, but let's say that we have an emergency all the way at the top by our School of Business, and our security is all the way over by CHS. That's at least a good 5-6 minutes where you gotta rush just to get up there. And it's too much. It's too much. I just feel like Howard can address it, but they have a lot of other things that they need to worry about. And I feel like a lot of the freshmen need to not educate themselves, but like figure out very quickly that DC moves a little bit differently than being back home in a state. Because DC is not a state. There's a lot of extra rules that we have to follow. Not follow, but like a little extra rules that you have to take into consideration. Like, what is one thing that has happened so far? The fact that we have to walk around with our IDs and passports and stuff like that because we're in DC. One, understanding that a small thing that I've always taken notice of, kids in other states don't see helicopters often, and we have a lot of federal helicopters flying around, and I've had people like on social media be like, oh my god, they're like following us on the campus, and I'm like, guys, we're in DC now. It's a little different, but it's something I've been used to because being from New York, I'm like, I'm always seeing a helicopter flying around a tower or something, just doing it. But like, it's just seeing DC just change in front of me over 4 years. This place used to be a CVS. And I used to watch like crackheads go inside and steal stuff and just argue with security guards. And now we're having a community event here, which it's a big change, but it's a good change that we've had made so far. But yeah, there's always good and bad in DC. It's just the picking of what do you want to focus more on.
Just out of curiosity, what do you study in school?
So I studied nursing, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so my study is like so out of, I guess, me and my talking. But yeah, so I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. Not plastic I went to go into plastic surgery and be what is it called, a cosmetic nurse or an aesthetic nurse, and do like recovery for plastic surgeries and stuff like that, and do a travel nursing with that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're just back in,
Yeah.
Shaw to like for this celebration.
Yeah, for Shaw and the celebration. I also live in DC for right now because I'm working out in Hyattsville. But I just don't want to leave DC yet. I really don't. Like, because if I move, it's moving to Delaware, and as a New Yorker, moving to Delaware, I don't want to do it that bad, but I know I will have to eventually do it. It's just I can't leave it yet because it's like either stay here for a little bit longer or move to New York, and I feel like New York is, not that it has too much stuff going on or like that I don't want to go back, but it's like I want to grow from being a New Yorker and, expand my roots in other places. I don't expect to stay here in DC forever, but I do want to see and experience DC as an adult in my 20s and, just live.
That brings me to the next question.
Yeah.
Like, how do you hope to see DC in the future, in 5 years?
Back to where it used to be when it was Chocolate City. I know people are gonna love that one, but I want it to be back to Chocolate City. It doesn't have to be like extreme, everything so in your face, but like I want the history to come back to the way that it used to be. Like, I feel like there are a lot of things that we're seeing that are missing. I see a lot of houses on my block alone that are empty. I want DC to be lived in again. I want it to be livable again. I want it to be accessible for everybody, for people to live alone in a house with a roof over their head and food in their stomach. Every single time I cross my block, because there's at least like 3 or 4 like houses that are just vacant. There's nothing in there. There's eviction notices. Nobody's in there. It's just a rotting home. And I'm like, when I get older, I would want to come back, because I'm like, these houses are places that people can live in, but yet we have people here on Georgia Ave that are homeless and on the street, but we have houses that are not being used. And people could buy and turn it into a home, even if it could be a Section 8 home. I don't care what it is. I used to even there was a lady on our block who was homeless. And she lay down on a lounge, like one of those lounge travel beds in the winter. So she would have to cover herself with a bunch of coats. And I always felt so bad because I'm like, I don't know what to even give this lady to even just feel like, hey, I can help. Because she's just laying out in the winter. I'm freezing cold in my room. She's outside on the street, and yet she's sleeping in front of a house that is vacant. And all of her stuff gets to stay on the sidewalk. But there's a house that she's sleeping in front of that she can't get into because there's rotting floors and there's nothing in there for her to even go into, which is insane. And that is my main thing that I want to see. And I know it's happening, and I know that it progresses slowly, but it's so infuriating when it's like, I want to do something and I don't have the power and the money, really, because America runs on money to do it.
And isn't that the truth?
Yes, it does. As sickening as it is, no matter what. And I was always telling myself, like, I've seen the riots and the not the riots. Let me rephrase that. The protesting happening in Nepal, and I'm like, guys, we gotta do something. We have to do something. We have to do something. We have to do something.
Do you think that part of DC draws you in?
Yes. Oh, yes. From the beginning, literally from the moment that I came to Howard and when I first stepped foot in here, I was I think I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore in high school, and I was like traveling to see different HBCUs, and I was like, I want to be here because I want to change something. You go to Howard to be somebody to change something. You whatever it is that is your passion, you want to make the world a better place. You don't go to Howard just because you're just like, I want to be stagnant. No, I want to be greater. I want to make a name for myself. I just feel like DC has so many things that are like little pockets of issues that we have, that yes, there are a lot of people who are passionate about it, but there's only so much you could do from the community's end without being heard from the political end. Because politically, people don't hear us. I don't even live here, and I have to learn about the mayor and how she's allowing Homeland Security to be here. As a black woman, let me say it. As a black woman, you're allowing people to make our city unsafe and make us feel uncomfortable. And I can't sit right with that. I can't. People from all over are saying that this is not what DC is for. I don't care what Mr. Man in office has to say about it. He's not living here. He moves, he bounces around. He stays over at his golf house in Florida more than he ever stays here. So what does he know about DC?
Exactly. All right. No, that's perfect. Is there anything else I failed to address that you want to say? Or?
No.
All right.
Can I do a little shout out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, so I do have a little GoFundMe if y'all don't mind. My name is Amaya Lewis. You could probably find it somewhere on GoFundMe. I just need a little bit of help if y'all don't mind. Anything helps. I really do appreciate anybody's donation. Thank you guys.
Thank you.